want to move on to the next part, and that's actually how do we actually promote in this book. And we mentioned that we're going to give a few bullet points to the publisher, but let's see what we really can do. Because it's not about the publisher. It's not putting those points in order to convince the publisher how great you are and how good author and publisher and marketeer you are. But you want to make your book a success. Would you agree? Yeah. It's not for money. You're not going to get a lot of money if you sell 2,000 books or 4,000 books. Okay? It's not a big difference in money from royalties, but it makes a big difference in the amount of people that you can make a difference in their life and the amount of clients that you can get for your back end. A best-selling book in Holland is already 5,000 books. I mean, 5,000 books is a bestseller. I mean, there are books that are selling more than that, but 5,000, it's respectable, very respectable. When you get to 10,000, you're going to have a very, very happy publisher out there. Okay? And those are numbers that in the States, they laugh about it, but, you know, it's still serious. There's very few people in Holland that get to 100,000 books. Very few. Okay? And you don't need to get to that. But you want to make sure that the marketing does the job so the book can get to the hands of those people that it's important for them to get because it's good for them and it's good for you. Does that make sense? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to actually come up with your brilliant ideas, and I will show you how to use them because I want you to start thinking instead of me. I already know this. And you also, many of the ideas you already heard. The point is, how do you tweak them for a book? Okay, so the only thing that I do want to do first, and because it is different in books than anything else, is the endorsement. Okay, because this is standard. A book is being sold for many, many years or promoted as many, many years and got publishers for many, many years through the endorsements. The endorsements are those lines of text that you have at the beginning of your book. And it's funny because in Holland, they put it at the end of the book. Okay, the publisher really insists to put it at the end of the book. And that's crazy. This needs to be the first pages. In an English book, it's here. Okay, the more you have, the better, but you don't need so many. Okay, don't worry about the quantity. But you need to have a few good ones, and you need actually to get a few good ones in order to get a lot of good ones. It's always like that, and I will show you how to do that. You do that in kind of waves. So those endorsements are really, really important to get, and to get them from the right people and to get the right text in it. The point of endorsement is that you want, this needs to be people that other people know. Okay? This needs to be what we call, you can call them bekende Nederlanders or famous people or authority people or whatever it is. It's not difficult to find them. I'll share with you in a moment how to do that. It's not difficult, and they will be very happy usually to do that. But you need to know what you want, who you want, and how to get that. This is how I do that. Okay? I think from point of ethics, from point of integrity, from point of karma, from every point possible, this is the right way to do that. I only contact people that I actually read their books. Let's start this way. I usually contact authors. It's the easiest. They are the easiest people to do that. They know the system, they understand it, they did it for their own book, and they are very happy to appear usually on other people's book because this is build their expert position again. Okay? It's so funny, I'm telling people in the business bootcamp, I said, how many of you know Brian Tracy? So I have, a few people raise their hand, but most of them not. Then I need to build it, right? So I said, Brian Tracy is one of the top management consultants or trainers or whatever it is in the world. What did I just do? Build up Brian Tracy. So it's good for him to be in my book. You understand? So that's why they do that. So they have no problem to say yes most of the time if you approach them in the right way. So I like to approach authors. And that's how I did it at the beginning. Now, to be very honest, I really didn't dare to do that at the beginning. What I did is I went for my library and I picked up the 40 books that I liked the most from authors that talked about success. From Tony Robbins to Brian Tracy to Joe Vitale to Stephen Covey and all those. I just picked them out. Okay, to try to get the information, the details about them. It was the old days, before everything was so available. It was harder a little bit. You needed to go through the publishers many times. So I picked them up, and I had all those names, and I put them in an Excel file, and I knew that I need to send the letters, but I was really scared, because they might say no, which is totally crazy, because me and Stephen Covey are not like, like buddies. So what if he says no, or if I never hear from him again, what's the big deal? But it was. My ego was, and I don't know. Maybe for you don't have the issue, but I had that. So it took me some time to be willing to go through that. And actually, a friend of mine who is an author kind of solved me that. He said, listen, when you contact those authors, if they still remember they're coming up, they will say yes. If they forgot, they will say no. And most of them will remember. And that was like that. I mean, it's really like that. And so I sent this letter that I'm going to give it to you in a moment exactly and explain how to do that in order to get the maximum result out of it. But the most important for me, and that's what I mentioned before about the ethics and the integrity and the karma, I only did that with people that I had the books and read the books. Because the easiest thing in the world today is to go to bol.com and just look for all those authors that wrote any book about your topic of expertise. Take their name, find up their website, and send them an email. That's the easiest way to do. But I think that karma will bite you in the ass this way or another, and that's not the right way to do. It's just not the right way to do. You'll see also that way I contact them is I contact them as a big influencer on my life. I read your book, I loved your book, I implement your book, I teach your book, and then I'm asking for something. Okay? Otherwise, you're kind of telling people, either you tell them, well, listen, I don't know you, but I found you on Amazon, and I would really like you to you have no idea how many books I'm getting like that. Actually, it's more disturbing that I get sometimes physical books in the mail saying, hey, my name is Max Bialystok. Anybody knows Max Bialystok? Or it doesn't say anything to anybody? Nobody knows. I think I need to go to a course about cinema and just train you a little bit with movies. Your life will become enriched. Books is not everything in life. There's movies. Anyway, so my name is Max Bialystok, and I wrote this book, and I think you should read it and tell me what you think about it, and I would like to get from you a positive review. I get those, and a lot of those authors get that. It's in my opinion, unthinkable. Okay, you need to tell them, listen, I like the book, I read the book, I loved what you're saying, and I think that you were a big influence on my life, and I would really love to get your opinion on my book, something like that. Okay, so this is the right way. So you need to do it with books that you already have. If you don't have those books, then get them, buy them, actually buy them. You know, this is good for karma. They just saw $2 because you bought or €2 because you bought the car. Then somebody else will buy your book. If you're going to steal it, take it from a library or download it, whatever it is. We had an author in Israel long time ago, and he was a comedian, and he was writing in his book, and on the first book on the book it says, if you took this book in the library, please close it and don't read it. Okay? It means that I don't earn any money, so I don't want you to read my stuff. It's like that. And I thought it's kind of cool, you know, especially if you want to sell books, you need to buy books. It's a simple law of attraction. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, so you buy the books, you have them hopefully at home, you find the top experts that you want, top authors, make a list. I had 40, exactly 40, that's what I had. Okay? And what you want to do is you want to send those people a letter. Okay, a letter. I know that the name for letter in today's world is email. Email doesn't work. It will not work for you. Okay, so you send them a letter. People still read the letters. And the way you do that, it's a simple kind of direct marketing. You make sure the envelope is handwritten, not in a kind of a sticker or printed on the envelope. It kind of gets people to open it. Okay, not always, but many times. The address of the author you should find on their website. You find their office, not their home address, but you'll find their office. It's better than the publisher. If you really cannot find their website or the address, then you contact the publisher for that. But that just means that if the author doesn't have a website, it's not a serious person. Okay, and I don't think that today it happens. Okay, in my days it happened. Half of them I needed to go through the publisher. But today I don't think it's an issue. Now the first sentence is important. Is important. Remember, every author you're going to write to is an expert, which means that they are living their passion. Okay, so you share that with them. You tell them, we share passion. Okay, we share passion for whatever it is that you do. In my case, we share passion for helping people reach their full potential and fulfill their purpose. That's what I'm talking about. Fulfill your potential. Okay, but you can say we share a passion for healing horses through Reiki, or yoga, or whatever it is. Okay, so we share passion for something and find out what it is. Is that clear? Not too difficult. This is the easy part. Okay, now this is mine. Again, you need to put your own numbers there and your own words, but for me it was for the past 10 years, and remember that was many years ago, but for the past 10 years I have taught thousands of people all over Europe to reach for and master the elements of success. This is the name of my book, but it also stands for something, elements of success, right? And I'm kind of start seeding the name of my book, because they don't know what it is about. So I'm sharing that. So if you can have your name of the book kind of seated there, that's cool. If not, don't work too hard about it. And I have now developed my seminar material into a book. And you need to say something like that. You know, you need to get to the point where you say, I took my knowledge, I took my experience, I took my material, whatever it is, and I made it into a book. You need to come up at one point and quickly, preferably, to the point that you created the book. And then you say, immediately you go back to them, about him. Okay, your writings, your book, your text, your whatever it is. And by the way, it's not only for authors. It's for any expert. So if you know an expert that is a professor in the university and never wrote any book, but his lectures influence you, then you say, your lectures. Does that make sense? Or you're writing for a CEO of a company that was very influential for you. You say, well, seeing your leadership style appearing through the media appearances or whatever it is, influenced me to a certain degree. And you tell them that. So it influenced, had tremendous impact on my life and my work. I read your book in this case, and then you see that it says the name of the book. Please don't keep it. I read your book. Tell them which book you read. Show them that you actually read that. So I read your book, 7 Habits of the Highly Successful People. Okay? And if it's 2 books, then I read your book, 7 Habits for Highly Successful People and 7 Habits for Highly Successful Teens. Okay? For the first time, 10 years ago, and your concept have stimulated my thinking and shaped my teaching on success, whatever it is for you. Okay? So don't get hooked on the words. I know that some of those words in Dutch or some of the style in Dutch looks a little bit hypey. And it's okay. This was meant for American audience. If you find that the word's tremendous impact is too much for you, then you can say big impact. That's okay. But don't say a small impact or no impact or a tiny little impact, like you would say, an impactje. I forgot to say that yesterday when we talked about the editing. If I will see yeah at the end of a word in any of your books, I will disown you from my students. You will not be allowed to come to any course. I have a Betrayftje. I'm doing projectje. I have a bookje, whatever it is. Are not allowed. So, it's okay if you're not okay with tremendous impact, which is a little hypey, but you cannot go to the Dutch mentality of, I'm no one, and no one is important. You need to build up some credo there. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, next. Because of the influence your work had on me and your expertise in whatever it is, doesn't matter, I am asking you. People are so hard for them to ask for a favor, but that's what you're doing, so you need to tell them, I'm asking you to review my new book, The Elements of Success, or whatever the name of your book, okay, to review your book. I get sometimes those kind of letters, and they say, listen, here's my new book, I would like you to give me a recommendation or give me an endorsement. This is disrespectful, my opinion, okay? I don't like it when I get this way. I'm asking to review. Okay, so that's a little bit more gentle. I'm not asking you to promote it or to give me anything. You don't even know if it's good. Why do you ask me to give you a recommendation when I don't even know if it's good? Okay. By the way, we found out with Vera that today to put for review for a book that's kind of daunting. It's a lot of work. I mean, the person just see, wow, he's going to send me now a book and I will need to review the book. So it's good to say something like, change that a little bit. Here's the time to make it smaller. Say, to review a chapter of my book. Or review a small piece of the work because this is your expertise or something like that. Does that make sense? Make it easy for them. Make it easy to say yes and less easy to say no. And the next one is actually explaining them or reminding them. You remember that my friend told me that if they remember where they came from, they will help you. If they forgot, they will not. So this is a sentence that is there to overcome it. As a successful writer, you have worked your way through the publishing process and understand the value of having recognized experts review your work. So it's just kind of reminding them, hey, you didn't start there, right? You didn't start where you are here. You started somewhere else. So make it gentle, but it's all true. Then you're going to talk about your book. I don't need to read you this paragraph, but then you're going to talk about your book. And here's the place to put some testimonials. And the testimonials you choose are very, very important. First of all, choose them real. You cannot never check them, but choose them that they're real. That's, again, integrity and karma. Be careful. So you put some testimonial about that, but make sure that the testimonials are somehow using words that you would like to appear in their texts. So practical and step-by-step and a system and whatever it is that you can find that you want to be appearing in your simple, immediate use or whatever it is. See if you can find testimonials like that. Sometimes you can, sometimes you don't, but this should be in your consideration. Now, this is the first letter I ever sent, okay? And I will explain in more this process, but I didn't send it to all the 40 people. I sent it only to 10. It's called the wave sending, okay? You send in waves, like in the ocean. So I sent it to 10, and I waited. And I'll talk about it in a moment on the waiting and what to do if they don't respond and everything. But as soon as I got the first two endorsements, then I replaced my student that nobody knows with endorsement of people that even if they don't know, they're, yeah? Now, the way you organize your waves, and I will mention it later, is you organize your authors from the least important to the most important, from the least celebrity to the most celebrity. And you start with the least, because they are the ones that are easier for them to say yes. Yes? And then you're using their names, so you build up from the least known to the most known, but when you send to somebody that is known and telling them this and this one endorsed it already, even if they don't know them, this is an author or somebody, then it's more important than one of your students or one of your clients. Make sense? Okay? All right. So then that's basically what this big paragraph about. And then comes the request. My question to you, I usually, when I'm very direct, I will say, listen, I have a favor to ask. But here I kind of asked it as a question, which is much subtler. Okay? You can choose what you want to do. My question for you is, would you be willing to review my book? And in this case, it will be a chapter of my book. Okay? Times has changed. A chapter of my book, and comment on the whatever it is. For me, that was part of it. The book, this is very specific to mine because it was with CDs and everything, so that's not relevant for you. Now, while some ideas in the book reinforce, simplify, and demystify at the time, I do introduce several unique points. You kind of build them up for what it is. Then you just thank them. I would be grateful if you take the time to review my work, any comment or insight. If you will read the sentences, you will see there is no one word asking for recommendation or endorsement in this part, because this is letter number 1 out of 2. Okay, letter number 1, you don't ask for anything except reviewing. Okay, you don't ask them to promote, you don't ask them to recommend, you don't ask them to endorse, just to review. Is that clear? Thank you again, most sincerely, and your name. Now, you do that, you put it on paper, you put it in an envelope, handwritten, and you send that to the first 10 or 15 people. And you wait. Sometimes you wait longer, sometimes you wait less. What is important to make sure is that you get them to answer you by email. You don't want them to answer you by snail mail or whatever it is, by email, and you'll see that I put my email there in what I request. And you will get the email, you will get an answer for most of them. You either get a yes or you get a no. I found out that I got about 70% yes, 20% no, and about 10% didn't answer. And we'll deal with that in a moment, okay? There's the yes, the no, and those that didn't answer. And I don't know what will be your percentage. Verd got less percentage, okay? We have some students that got 100% yes. So it's a little bit depend who you send, how you communicated. But you will get some yeses, some no's, and some people that will not answer. Those people that say yes, those are the most important, right? And you need to respond to them quick. Now, the yes can be, yes, sure, send it to me and I'll have a look at that. Yes can be something like, yes, but I'm very busy in the next 16 years. Can you send it to me in 2022? Fine. You know, whatever it is, you need to respect that. I didn't get that to that much, but I had people that says yes, but in 8 months when I'm finishing a project. Then you need to send it in 8 months, even if your book is already published and it's everything. I mean, that's what there is. Okay, you put it on your agenda and you do that. It's not always, it's not most of the cases. Most of the cases you say, send it to me and I'll find some time for that. At that time, from almost all of them, they asked us to send it, but a few of them said, you can send me just the PDF and I will read it. Okay? Today, probably it will happen more. They will just say, oh, email me the PDF and I'll review it. That's cool, you do that, but you also send the physical page. Again, from the same story that we talked before about ebook and book, and you want to make sure they know that it's a physical book and that it looks like a physical book. You want it to look like, I mean, my book, when I sent it, looked like shit, but it looked like a book. Okay, it wasn't this cover. I don't have it, unfortunately, the first version that I sent. It was the cover I designed myself with my skills of designer, which is not that high. Okay, so it looked like shit, but it looked like a book. Like a shitty book, but you know, cover. But it was looked like a book. It wasn't just pages. So this is important. That's why we'll talk later, or we'll talk in a minute about the print on demand, why it's important. Okay, so you send them the book anyway, even if they ask for the PDF. It will arrive a day later, but that's okay. Now they know that you're serious. Okay, and I'll show you what to do also on the package, which is really cool.
Do you send only the chapter you asked for?
No. But give me a chance. I will get there. Okay. If there will be question, I answer. Okay. So basically, whatever they ask you send, but also a physical book. Now you're sending a physical book, the whole book. Okay. However, that's what I used to do. However, today, because you told them if you can review my chapters, then in the letter that attached to that, to say, listen, I'm not expecting you to read the whole book. I appreciate how busy you are, but if you could take a look at chapter 15, which is talk about something that is relevant in your book, it would be great if you can give me some of your insights about that, or something like that. I'll talk to you on second letter in a moment. But basically, you send the whole book. Even if it's a PDF, you send the whole PDF, but you tell them this is the chapter I really would like. If you don't have a lot of time, then please, this is the chapter I want your feedback. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, so the way you do that is when you send the book, you send it in. Slow down. Okay. There's not a lot to write actually. It makes sense. I think everything, or isn't? Okay. Making sense is too difficult. All right. Listen, I didn't, this is my main contribution for this course, because all the rest I kind of borrowed from others, but this is something that I do, but I don't think it's really complicated. You know, you can do your own style. I mean, it's really not important if you do that my words or yours, as long as you understand the principle. You do not ask too much from people. You do not ask them to promote something that they don't know and they never saw that before. When you send it with respect. So you start with a letter. When they say yes, only then you send the book. Never send the book with the letter. This is saying, I was wondering if you would be willing to review my book. Here is it. Before they said yes. It's not respectful. I get that all the time. Those books go straight into garbage. Straight. It's not even, I open because I'm curious, what is so heavy that I'm getting. I see the letter says, would you be willing to review my book? Here it is. To the garbage. Just because of, karma needs to, you need to pay. And I'm the agent of karma. Okay? I'm trying to help you to be a good person. Anyway, so the next one that you send it, I suggest that you spend a few more euros and you send it with Federal Express. Okay, it takes more, gets more attention. It costs a little bit more, it gets more attention. Nobody can ignore a Federal Express envelope. Nobody. And secretaries usually are instructed, especially if it will be, say personal or a Federal Express, secretaries, gatekeepers, all this are instructed to move it further without opening it. Because the last thing you want is gatekeeper to see that. Okay, they don't know that you had an exchange with the author before or whatever it is, or maybe they know, but it will never get there, I think. So you send it there, you send it this way, and then you send it with another letter. Okay, again another letter. That letter I didn't send you because it really was different from one author to another. There was not really a template. But basically what it does, it thanks them for their for their willingness to support, for the time. You acknowledge that they're very busy and you know that. And you say, if you have a few minutes time to read this chapter or this part, and let me know what you think. And now comes a paragraph that is very important. And if you find this valuable, would you be willing to write a couple of sentences for me so I can put at the back of the book? That's how you do that. You don't call it endorsement. You don't, just a couple of sentences about the book that I can put at the end of the book. They all understand. They're authors. They know what it is. Now, here's a nice little trick that we used with Vered books and some other books. I didn't do that in mine because I didn't think about it, but we did it with some other books for our students. When you create the package, that the cover for the book that you're going to send them, you're going to leave, you see there's places here for the endorsements. You're going to leave it empty with a white color. It doesn't matter what this color, it needs to be white, very clear white space, and you put above it a space for your review or something like that. Don't call it endorsement, but something like that. Okay, and you just now you can. I wouldn't go all the way as to put their names there because that looks cheesy, and because you can do that with print on demand, you can just make it. For every author will have their own name, but that looks too much. So just for your consideration or for your review or something like that. I don't know if it helps or not, but it's kind of cool to do that. It's clearer than what you want because listen, at the end they're not going to finish here. Okay, at the end most of them will finish here because you can only put 2 here, and you're going to put 40 in here.
I write my book in Dutch, but I would really like to have a review from an English person. Can I just translate the book, or just one chapter? Or?
Are you planning once to do that in the English, the book?
Yes.
Then you can decide to translate it a little bit earlier. I know that we have students that do that. They just translate a couple of chapters. And they say, listen, the book is still in Dutch, in the process of translating. Those are the 2 chapters I would like you to have a look at, and they got that. I mean, I have students that got from Brian Tracy. Yvette van Boven got from Brian Tracy, I think. For example, don't know why, because it's about cancer, although he had cancer, Brian Tracy, just now, so maybe that was how he got it. But anyway, we have students that got from international people, and they sent parts of it in English. So it's probably can work. Yeah? All right, but listen, that was a small piece. We don't want to spend so much time. All I want you to remember one thing is it's good to do it in waves. So even if you have 40 names, start with 10 or 15 with the lower ranking ones, get from them, and make sure those experts are always experts on the field. I mean, I'm getting so many from my students, and I'm telling you that also so you won't get hurt. If you're going to send me and say, listen, I did with you the course, and I wrote the book, it's exactly your system, so I'm so proud to present to you, and I'm asking you to do an endorsement for that. But your topic is about, the psychology of a child, or, working with fried chicken, to help managers in transitions or whatever it is. I don't have anything, and I will answer you this way, and I will be very short. And if I won't answer you, then Anna is going to answer you. That's her job to kind of, save me from that. So she will send actually in Anna's name saying, well, Nisande doesn't, it's not in his area of expertise, so maybe you should find another expert. She will say it very nicely, but basically it's find, Now you have doing it. I managed to get two birds at the same. But seriously, it's not about me. It's about when you're sending it to somebody that it's not their area of expertise. You don't look good. It means that either you don't know who they are, or you don't care, or you're just so needy. I don't know what. Look for those people that are expert in that field. And if there is not authors like that, then go for other people. Okay, other people. Try to go, but try to get names that other people will recognize.
The experts in my field are not known by my target audience.
No,
what
matter.
to do?
Doesn't matter.
Does it matter?
No, because but you need to put the title. Nobody here knows Brian Tracy, so I'll have to sell Brian Tracy. Actually, why do I keep on saying Brian Tracy and Stephen Covey? I say they're not the best testimonials. I have better than those. I say only those two. Every business bootcamp. Why? Because you don't recognize the other 20. But they're there, and they were the names of the books that they're writing. You remember that yesterday I told you that it's really important that even if you know everything for your book, you'll get some research done, and you want to get some experts done, and you want to ask some expert questions? Because if you have, and if I have it, I would be so much easy, but I didn't think about it at that time. But today, that's what you need to do. You get to yourself 6 or 8 experts that are giving you this piece of information, even if you know this piece of information. They give it to you. You contact them after that. You tell them, listen, thank you so much. Your piece is in the book, page 176. Take a look at the book. And by the way, if you like the book, maybe you're willing to write for me a couple of words, and you have 100% conversion on the spot. Everything that you do is think strategic. Think strategic. And we're talking about team, and we're talking about cooperation all the time in all our trainings, right? So if you can get some experts to help you in the process of writing the book, they're invested in your book. So when you tell them, listen, hey, this is your part in the book, do you like it? And you tell them, do you like the rest of the book? Would you be willing to give me some sentences to say about it, the endorsement without saying the word endorsement? They will always say, yes. But that's only step 2 out of the 3-step plan, master plan. First step, let's get their knowledge. Second step, let's get their endorsement. Third step, let them promote it to their list.